Hello there. I'm going to be reviewing a Cov25 run that I did here. Random start. I'm doing it in the run review format. My audio did get a little bit choppy for my live commentary, which is just as well because I made some pretty foolish statements early on. For one, I for some reason had it in my brain that the secondary clan was Umbra, which led to some maybe not optimal decisions. And for the choice of champion here, I I decided to try out kind of a new strategy. Phil Gallagher of Thraben University kind of floated this idea where um, uh, if you don't start with the Rejuve Sentient, you play as if you're going to get it anyway, since it's so powerful. And I wanted to see if I could make that work. So I took the Spike Sentient here and made decisions with the assumption that I would be offered the Rejuve Sentient on my first upgrade. And I'd obviously have to shift the game plan if that didn't happen, but I did assume it was going to happen. And this first fight went pretty well. I took the trial, which led to some pyro damage, but ultimately it wasn't. I think it was worth it, I should say, to take the trial for 9 pyro damage early on. I take the Glimmer here. I know that the final fight has a lot of ads that you want a way to deal with that vent, but Glimmer triggers the sentient healing if I ever get it. And now I stare at these choices with the assumption that I only have Umbra units, and I decide that I'm going to try to make the Awoken Hollow work as a DPS unit. I just picked up Glimmer, so with Holdover Glimmer, it'll at least get some scaling in, and I just wanted to make something work. Despite the fact that one of the Hellhorn units was offered on the same choice pool, it just didn't click in my brain. So that was interesting. I think the Alpha Fiend is a great backliner for the Rejuve Sentient. The Awoken Hollow isn't ideal because it competes for your restores. So I really didn't want to do it, but I wanted something. So I decided to settle for it. And yeah, this fight's pretty straightforward. With the razor sharp edges, the Awoken Hollow is actually pretty good. But eventually I want to have more restore density in my deck. And so forget what was offered here. Oh yeah, the Hidden Passage. This is where it clicks for me. Oh, I'm playing Hellhorned. Okay, so I have better options than the Awoken Hollow probably for a backline attacker. But I pick up Hidden Passage so that I could use multiple if I needed to. And I decide to look for one right here, and I don't like those options. The Demon Fiend is so expensive, and 50 damage ultimately is not very much damage. So I make kind of a gamble here. I'm hoping to pick up a better unit, and I decide to give Awoken Hollow up to the Wings Aid, which I was looking. The pause here is me looking up the different options, and one of them was it gains endless and is free. One of them was it does revenge, and I forget what the other one was, but I decided that having it be free is and give endless with me needing to set up Hidden Passage is worth an upgrade slot, because I'm probably going to be picking up another unit that wants to compete for like multi-strike or something. And even the Awoken Hollow also can be very good if I happen to pick up the adaptive mutation. So that's one of the other reasons I decided to make it a possible backliner. And I set up on top here. I know this is going to be a tough fight. I don't have a secondary unit. I really only have razor sharp edges to do damage because Spike's 10 is practically nothing. So I want to make sure I make card plays to maximize the amount that of regions that I get, and so I'm playing out train stewards in some cases instead of like mitigating damage, just so they're out of my deck. And that includes this Glimmer, which also is a holdover card, so that would be basically 2 card draws, or 1 card draw taken up that is not a restore. And then by playing the train steward, I'm more likely to draw into more restores. Also kept the train stewards alive so that I could hidden passage. So that ultimately, I think, worked out. I don't quite kill the boss, but it could have been a lot worse. I probably was in real danger of dying to Daedulus on this fight. And I actually opened a spreadsheet here to see if 1 more restore will give me another round, because if it doesn't, I could use a torch on the frontline unit, and then that means it dies to the first train steward, and then the second train steward will do an extra 25 damage to Daedalus. So it was a question of whether I get another 30 plus 25 is 65 damage, or another 25 damage, which card I play here. So I had to do the math, because I was close enough to dying that was important math. And the end result is a restore gives me 1 more hit to Daedalus, which means I get another 60 damage, which is enough so that I don't die. Barely. Yeah, this is double speed, and it still has taken me a while. So this commentary was pretty unexciting. I just had Excel open, and I was doing the calculations. And it turns out, 1 restore exactly gives me 1 more round. Because it's not even healing, it's just the 1 regen. I still don't like it because he's going to end up with a good amount of health left. 2 hits, so 2/3 of my remaining pyre health. And here, those don't trigger restore. And then Alpha Fiend was the second unit I was looking for, especially since I don't have the Woken Hollow yet. I decide I desperately need to get some spell upgrades or remove train stewards. That last fight, I didn't have nearly enough regen. So I was looking to upgrade these and remove some more cards, and consume on Torch's effective removal. And double stack on that. And I'm done with units. Even with hidden passage, it just takes too long to get them in play. And I do get the Rejuve Sentience, so I can test out this. It's not really a theory, because I know people have done it before, but to see if I can basically use the same strategy I would use as a full explosive sentient, but with just a weakened version. And I am denying the Alpha Fiends some scaling here, but I feel like it's important to just get as many rejuves out as possible. The Glimmer wasn't going to kill them. I don't think. Oh yeah, the Glimmer would have killed them. I should have probably killed those guys below. And clean fight and obvious artifact choice. I'm going to be healing every turn. And I get the Endless Awoken, which probably, now that I have another unit I need to play, is one of the ones that would have worked better. So that means I can play it out, and if I don't draw a hidden passage at the right time, I can just keep playing it out. And then the final fight, that actually means that it's going to absorb some sap, which is good. So I think that's my last restore. So it's just a matter of removing stuff now. I don't feel the need to put holdover on anything because I'd rather just remove more stuff. Speaking of removing stuff, here is a rail spike. So deck's certainly looking a lot better. So as long as I don't make some foolish decision like taking a trial, it should be fine. This may be foreshadowing. So yeah, I don't have my second unit yet, so there's no reason to do Glimmer on the top floor. Okay, and I realize now that my Alpha Fiend isn't going to last very long, and he hasn't scaled very much at all. So I want to do more damage. So I start razor sharp edging my Sentient, who is going to last a while. And that way I can kill the boss, because Alpha Fiend was pretty much not doing anything. Engraft's just a super obvious choice. Like, it basically has no cost. You get a free rejuve trigger when you play it. The card draw cost is paid back. The ember cost is paid back. The healing is pretty much irrelevant, but the damage it does on a rejuve proc is not. And I was slightly worried about how much regen I was getting, so I dupe another restore. Otherwise, duping the engraft would have made sense too. Yeah, I get my free hollow back. And just sitting there until I get hidden passage. It's already up to 26 health without me doing much at all, which is great. Or 26 attack. And obviously the health is going to be no problem at all, so I don't have to worry about sweepers or anything on it. Alpha Fiend I do. But it also means the razor sharp edges are never going to not be usable. The problem with the razor sharp edges is they're not restores. So like eventually I'd rather just not have them in the deck, but you can only remove so many cards at a time. And they're effective. They're pretty effective still, so they just another restore might be more effective. Although with less powerful rejuve procs, maybe not. I'm not sure. I wouldn't draft Razor Sharp Edge, but I wasn't really upset to have it in my deck. So I get one of the multi-strikes that I want. It's more important on the Alpha Fiend because Alpha Fiend has direct scaling based on it, whereas the Awoken Hollow doesn't. I mean, it scales independently of the multi-strike, so it's nice to have it, but it's not a direct impact. So I take the trial here, and this is where I was foreshadowing. So I get blights from these guys, and with Spell Shield, there's no easy way to kill them. Glimmer would kill them if they didn't have Spell Shield, but I don't have any real targeted effects, so this is a pretty rough fight. Unnecessarily, I did not need to take this trial, and I already have 400 gold, so taking this trial was probably one of the bigger mistakes of the run. I don't want to say the biggest, because I think the biggest was just not really a mistake, but me thinking that Umbra was my secondary made me make different decisions early on. And I had no reason to think that Umbra was my secondary. Yeah, so bad turn here. I think it was something like 75 damage on this fight. Whereas if I had Spell Shield, I probably would have taken, I don't know, maybe 20 to 30 damage. Like just drawing into the blights, have a multiplicative effect really, because you don't draw into restores, which means you kill fewer things and they do damage themselves. So it's doubly bad. And I pick up an adaptive mutation, which makes all of my efforts to get the Awoken Hollow into the mix worth it, because just the base health from the summon effect means it's really a strong attacker once that's played. I mean, I don't think it's really necessary, but I had it in my deck, so I figured it was worth it. I wasn't sure how to gauge how much more damage I had to make up for because I'm getting 40 damage from my Rejuve procs instead of 60. Like I'm comparing it to a pure explosive sentient, whereas I am actually multi-classed into the bristling sentient. So yeah, I'm able to set up on all 3 floors here, which means the sap triggers are a little bit more spread out. And now I'm setting up on 2 floors. Really just staging for hidden passage, but as a side benefit, there's less sap. And I don't want to play adaptive mutation yet here because I'd rather it be on the top row with me when I can start playing more glimmers before I play it. And now it's on the top row, and I have adaptive mutation, so you'll see why it's so good here. He is all of a sudden going from doing like 25 damage to 70 damage, and that's with 7 sap. So really pretty good. But really this fight it's not really necessary for this fight. It's already probably in hand with just the Alpha Fiend, but it was just a nice bonus. And all in all, it worked pretty well. I thought it would, but I hadn't really done it myself, where you take the bristling champion first and make decisions as if you were going to get the explosive, and if you do, it pays off, and if you don't, you have to adjust your plans. And I guess that's another reason that the Woken Hollow would have made sense to pick, was if I didn't get the explosive, I needed like a main unit, like with the sentient acting as a floor clear, really, before your main floor. So I think it worked pretty well, other than a couple huge mistakes. And thank you for watching. Again, leave a comment or if you have any suggestions on what to tackle in the future. I enjoy making these, and I will enjoy the new patch. Thank you.